It begins here.
Ollie for three. Down goes Hinson.
It begins here.
Say it slowly. Wichita State is going to the Final Four.
The madness starts at the Arch. Don't miss the 2014 Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Tournament, March 6th through 9th at Scottrade Center. Get your tickets and get to St. Louis for Arch Madness. It begins here.
NCAA March Madness is coming to St. Louis. When the final buzzer sounds, only the best will advance to the NCAA Sweet 16. Experience it live. Catch second and third round action of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship March 21st and 23rd at Scottrade Center, hosted by the Missouri Valley Conference. Single section tickets start at $66 and are available for a limited time. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets and make a date with champions.
All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. If you would like to ask a question during the conference, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. To withdraw your question, press the pound key. I would now like to turn the call over to Mike Kern. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Megan. And let's go ahead and get started with our first coach. We have Coach Ben Jacobson of Northern Iowa on the line with us. Northern Iowa opening up its tournament against Southern Illinois in the number 3 seeded game versus number 6 seeded Salukis at 8:30 on Friday night in the quarterfinals. Morning, Ben.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Let's get right to the questions for you. Questions for Coach Ben Jacobson from the media.
To ask Coach a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from the line of Andrew Logue with the Des Moines Register.
Hi, Coach.
Hey, good morning, Andrew.
Morning. Hey, I wanted to ask a couple things. The first is there's going to be a lot of talk this week about teams, who can take a shot at beating Wichita State. But I wanted to ask you, what are the good things that having a team gain that kind of profile? What has Wichita State done for the league in a positive way? And then also I wanted to ask you about Seth, the all-conference first team, and what has he done for you guys?
Yeah, anytime we've got a team or multiple teams in our league that are able to do things on a national a national scale, the obvious that it's very good for our league. I think one of the things, and I saw Greg had said it at I don't know which interview or where it was, but just talked about how good our league is and the strength of our league. And this year we've got a number of teams that are young, but are playing pretty good basketball right now. But I saw where Greg had said, because some people have questioned their strength of schedule and where they fit in terms of elite teams this year, and I think without any doubt they are one of the handful of elite teams in the country this year. And his example was Creighton in our league last year. They themselves, Wichita, and even us, we were just a game out of second. And then they moved to the Big East, which people obviously talk about and how good their league is and how strong their league is. And Creighton is going to finish first or second in that league. And so I think Greg's point was well taken, and speaks to how good not only Wichita State is this year, but that our league is strong again. We just happen to have some younger teams. And, but anytime we've got somebody doing what Wichita's doing this year is terrific for all of us. And they deserve a ton of credit for what they've done. Seth is on quite a roll. He's shooting upwards. I think he's shooting close to 60% in his last, 10, 11, 12 games. I don't know how many it is, Andrew, but he's been terrific for us. And, two things that have really stood out for me is, he has demanded the basketball, and his teammates have been very willing to make sure he gets touches. And the second is he really doesn't, it isn't important to him whether he scores or not. It's important to him that we have a quality possession and we have as many of them as possible. He understands he needs to touch it, as I said, his teammates do, but he is a very willing passer. 2 games ago he gets 7 assists and no turnovers, and so he's not only scoring the ball, he's doing such a great job of helping us get quality possessions, and a very willing passer, and that's really stood out to me.
Well, thank you, Coach. See you later this week.
Yep, thanks, Andrew.
Your next question comes from the line of Todd Hefferman with the Southern Illinoisan.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Todd. Good.
The 2 SIU games a little bit different rebounding wise. How do you think the third one will play out, or what's important to you to try to win that rebounding battle?
Well, we're certainly talking about it, and knowing Barry, I'm certain he's that's on their list of things as well. That was the biggest difference in the 2 games, as you mentioned. And, I don't know. I don't know if we'll see one team, get up 7, 8, 9, 10 in the rebound category, as they did in the first game. And we were able to in the second game. I don't know if that's going to happen in this game. What I do know, Todd, is both teams are playing good basketball right now. For Southern Illinois to end the season at 7-3, just speaks to how well they're playing and the kind of leadership they're getting, and how well their best players are playing, but also their younger guys and some of the guys that maybe don't play quite as many minutes or take as many shots. All of those guys are playing well for them. So, I anticipate a great game on Friday night.
And you won 3 straight. Are you a little, this is your 8th tournament, I believe. You've won 3 straight, but now you get like 5 or 6 days off. How do you keep the momentum, or how are you worried about losing the momentum in 5 days, keeping your guys in rhythm? Yeah,
not really. I mean, we've kind of approached this week the same each year, and so we're gonna go at it hard again today. We went at it pretty good yesterday, and maybe a little bit lighter tomorrow before we go back at it a little bit on Thursday. But it is different in that way for all of us, and I think depending on situation, if years that we've had some momentum, you're thinking about what to do. And to your question, Todd, you're thinking about making sure you're doing the right things to keep the momentum. And in a year when you maybe don't have quite as much, how do you generate some momentum before you get there, in your practices? And I think each of those can be a little bit tricky because you're normally a 2-day prep and you're playing again. So, it's certainly something that we think about when we're putting our practice plan together. I don't know that I've got the best answer as to how to do it, Todd, but I do know that it is a factor.
And just real quick, the tournament, I looked at every team in the top 6 has had a 3-game losing streak except for, obviously, Wichita. Does that tell you anything about how teams have kind of come together late, or do you take any stock in that it's kind of every team has kind of had a lull and now they seem to be playing at their best again at this point?
Yeah, I think ourselves and Southern and Illinois State and Missouri State, in a lot of ways, the 4 teams that, the 4 of us that, fought it out for that middle part of our league have got a lot of young guys playing for them. There's a handful of seniors in that bunch that have done a terrific job for their teams, but, the large part of each of those 4 teams has got some younger guys and some new guys, and it, in some ways, it's taken a little while, but I think all 4 teams are playing very well, and what Paul has done without Marcus, he's just, for those guys to be able to continue to win games at a high level and fight to finish where they did, I think has been terrific. And Indiana State, they're good enough to win the whole thing. They've missed on a couple here in the last 10 days, but they've got the right experience, they've got the right guy at the point, and so they're good enough to win it all.
Thanks.
Yep.
And your next question comes from the line of Jim Benson with the Bloomington Pantagraph.
Hey, Ben.
Hi, Jim.
I know you're on the opposite side of Wichita, and you would have to get 2 games to possibly play them. But, I mean, do the coaches, would they mention the fact that St. Joseph, ran a table in 2004 in their regular season, and all of a sudden they came to their conference tournament and stumbled in their first game? Is that something you or the other coaches you think would mention to your players kind of coming into this weekend to give everybody a little bit of hope?
Yeah, not something that we would talk about, I don't think, Jim. I think, and as you said, we've got work to do Friday and Saturday before that could even be a possibility. If it gets to that point, I just think it's more about looking at the 2 games that we played them and trying to get a handle on where those 2 games got away from us, and doing what we can to avoid the 1, 2, or 3 things that that didn't allow us to keep that game within a possession or get a lead late in either of those 2 basketball games. For us and for me, Jim, I would say that would be the most important part.
I mean, do you think the teams that are going to play Wichita State in the first and second round and even possibly on Sunday, is there no pressure on those teams? Because, I mean, is there nothing to lose, really?
I don't know. I don't know that the thing I do know, you're going to have to play really well, right? I mean, you're going to have to play a heck of a game to beat them. But in terms of having some pressure, I mean, we're all going down there with the same mindset. If we win out this weekend, we get to play in the NCAA tournament. So they're regardless of who you're playing, and even Wichita with the year they've had and being undefeated, that's still we're all still going down there with the same thing in mind. So. I think the difference with the Wichita State game is because of what they've done, it's going to take a heck of an effort to beat them. But I don't think that necessarily takes away all of the heat from the rest of us. If you're playing them, we know that if you get them, that puts you one step closer to playing in the NCAA tournament.
Thanks, Ben.
Yep.
Coach, that was your final question. Thank you for your time today.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
We'll see you in a couple days.
Yep.
All right. We're joined by Coach Ray Giacoletti of Drake. Drake opening the tournament on Thursday against Evansville, the first game of the tournament at 6 o'clock in the opening round. Morning, Ray.
Morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing fine. Thank you.
Good. Let's get right to the questions for you. Questions for Coach Ray Giacoletti of Drake University.
To ask Coach a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. And again, that's star 1 to ask a question. Your first question comes from the line of Jim Benson with the Bloomington Pantagraph.
Morning, Ray.
Morning. How are you?
Good. If you win on Thursday. Obviously, you get a chance to play Wichita on Friday. Would you mention to your players that if that is a possibility that the 2004 St. Joseph team, ran the table in the regular season and all of a sudden they came to the conference tournament in the Atlantic 10 and stumbled in the first round? Is that something you would talk to the team about and maybe motivate them that way?
I'm not sure. I think, we've tried to motivate our guys in a bunch of different ways this year, just to make them realize that anything is possible, but we can control our destiny. I think the bigger question would be to try to, slow Wichita down and what we were not able to do in the first two games with them. I'm sure we would try to find some piece to help them realize that, again, anything is possible. I talked to our team the other day about Liberty last year going into a conference tournament, 9 and whatever in the regular season, and went and won 3 or 4 games and went to the NCAA tournament with a losing record. Now we're 15-15, but I think there's a lot of parallels with that. Again, it just, you control your own destiny, but we need to focus on the first night with Evansville right now, and that's the task at hand, because if you don't take care of that, not everything else is mute. But I think teams believe, to be honest with you. I think they know everybody's kind of back to 0-0, and you got to go out and prove it on the floor for 40 minutes. So I don't think it's as big a deal like trying to convince your guys that somebody can beat Wichita State. I don't know. I just think this, once you get out of the conference season and you start the conference tournament, it's just a little bit different, maybe mindsets than people may have had during the regular season. You see so many upsets, once you get in the conference tournament play. But Wichita's had a great year, and as I've said all along, they're just not a team that is going to out-talent you or outscore you. They have great pride defensively and great pride rebounding the basketball. And to me, that's what separates them from other teams across the country.
When you were at Gonzaga, did you notice in the early rounds of your conference tournament out there that other teams were maybe looser against you guys?
Yeah, I think again, I think people just realize that it's tournament play, and so if anything's possible in 40 minutes, and you kind of see all kinds of different teams, just like you said, maybe play loose and free, and maybe that's needed to feel like to be their best. It's just I think the best thing about the NCAA tournament is all the different upsets that take place, because anything can happen for 40 minutes. And so I think guys realize that, and teams understand that this time of year, and I don't think you have to convince them as much as maybe you would maybe during the conference season.
Thanks, Ray.
Your next question comes from the line of Harry Schroeder with Valley Hoops Insider.
Hey, Ray, first here, in the Valley, and I'm curious about what were your biggest surprises this year, number one, and then what are you most anticipating about coming here to St. Louis?
I don't think I had any surprises other than, last year with Wichita ending our career or our season at Gonzaga. I think I had a front row seat at what the best team in the Valley looks like before we actually got into, before I even took the job. And so I kind of had an understanding of how good Wichita is. And to be honest with you, I think they're much better now than they were a year ago. That doesn't mean they're going to get back to the Final Four, but I think that they've obviously going 31-0. It's an incredible feat, but I don't know if there was a whole lot of surprises. It's always been a very well-coached league. I think other than Wichita, there's a lot of transition, a lot of young teams this year that only will get better with time. And going to St. Louis this weekend, we've just really tried to talk to our guys about one day at a time. It's kind of the gladiator approach. If you win, you survive and play for another day. And, we talk about all the time, you try to play this game as if it was your last opportunity. And when it gets to this time of the season, it very well could be your last opportunity. So you want to give your best effort of the year.
Thanks, Ray.
Yep, thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Rodney McKissick with the Buffalo News.
Ray, how you doing?
There's an old friend. How you doing, Rodney? It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, same here, my man. Same here. In regards to Wichita State, Ray, have they done enough, regardless of what happens this week, have they done enough to earn that number one seed?
I think without a doubt, and I'm no expert by any means, but I've been in college basketball for the last 30 years coaching. And again, what separates them, Rodney, from most teams, in my opinion, is they're not going to out-talent you, just strictly trying to out-talent you to win every night. They have tremendous pride, possession by possession, getting stops, and the same piece with the rebounding, where they're going to out-rebound you each and every night. A writer when we were in Wichita a couple of weeks ago told me they'd only been out-rebounded 13 times in the last 100 games. That's a heck of a statistic. So whereas a lot of teams over the span of 30 years, that have had great runs or rolls, you watch them play and they want to outscore you. Wichita is very different. They can outscore you. I think offensively, they don't panic, and they really understand how to share the basketball. So this is a complete team. This is not, I don't want to use other schools as a reference, but this is a team who takes care of every piece of the game to be successful, and they have one word to describe them, it would be toughness. Toughness defensively, toughness rebounding the basketball, and I'm very impressed with them offensively, where they don't panic. Even with 5 seconds on the shot clock, they're going to get a great shot. This is a different team. This is one of the best teams in the country, hands down.
Hey, thanks a lot. Good luck to you, Ray.
Thanks, my friend. You take care.
You too, buddy.
And your next question is from Brian Bloodsworth of WJVC Radio.
Good morning, Ray.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Good. Hey, in building a program, how important would it be to get a win Friday to guarantee, or Thursday to guarantee yourself a 500 season?
I think it's obviously very big. With however many games are left in your season, you're trying to, play your best basketball this time of year. I'm really proud of our guys buying into something with the new staff this year, and just to finish strong with a good taste in your mouth, I think just kind of propels you into the off season with recruiting, with skill development, with the guys coming back. It's very important, and we'll try our best, and hopefully we're playing. Getting the win the other night against Bradley was big going in the tournament. So you have a good feeling, good mojo going into it. We had a good practice yesterday. So it's all those things I think work hand in hand as being very important. So
thank you.
We want to try to finish as strong as we can. Thank you.
All right.
And your next question comes from the line of Todd Hefferman with the Southern Illinoisan.
Hey, Coach, when you look at the Evansville game, do you think Aaron Hawley has to be a bigger factor than he's been?
I mean, obviously, Aaron can really shoot the ball, but there's other ways I think he can impact the game. The other night against Bradley, he led us in rebounding with 8, and those are things that we really, talked to him about this year and trying to become as complete a player as he can. The other big piece, I think, on Thursday night will be defensively, being able to navigate all those screen and rescreens and the motion offense that Evansville runs. But those are the two areas I think where Aaron can impact the game other than just scoring the ball. But yes, it would be nice to give him some looks and be able to, that's something he does as well as anybody on our team is be able to shoot it and score it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Coach, that was your last question. Thank you for your time. Good luck against Evansville on Thursday.
Thanks. Have a good one. Thank you.
Okay. See you later. Let's get next to Coach Paul Lusk of Missouri State. Missouri State opens its tournament against Illinois State in the number 5 seeded game on Friday at 2:30. Morning, Paul.
Morning, Mike.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Let's get right to the questions for you. Questions from the media for Coach Paul Lusk.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Your first question comes from the line of Lyndall Scranton with the Springfield News Leader.
Paul, could you just comment on Jamar and Austin Reuter getting their all-conference honors and what they've done for the team?
Well deserved. Obviously, with Jamar, he's a kid that a year ago tore his ACL, and I thought it would take him a little bit more time. Lyndall, we had plenty of recovery time. But I still thought just the rust and him really only playing a year of Division I basketball would have taken him some time. But, our first game, he was excellent at Old Dominion. He's had a very solid year. And then I think with some of the injuries we've had, he's had to take on even a different role, maybe more responsibility on trying to score the ball and be aggressive. And he's done some very good things. Pleased with him. He's got his degree. It's an honor that he deserves. Austin, I don't know where we would be without him. He came in and really has played solid basketball, leads us in minutes played. Once again, with the injuries we've had, more responsibility has been placed on him as a young guy, but I think it's responsibility that he's been able to deal with, and he's been excellent for us, and I think he'll continue to get better.
Thank you.
And your next question is from Jim Benson with the Bloomington Pantagraph.
Paul, obviously the first two games against Illinois State were tight affairs, both of them. Could you just kind of preview the game coming up, and do you expect kind of the same thing Friday afternoon?
Well, they're very tough to deal with. Great quickness, very mobile. As I said, the first time we played them to open the league, I don't think our guys were ready for their speed and quickness and their driving ability, their pressing ability, and we were really on our heels. We found a way to get back into the game and fortunately win it. Thought we were okay at their place in particular areas of the game when you take into account that we turned it over 21 times. We literally turned it over 21 times, and we still had a chance to win the game. You're not going to be very successful if you turn the basketball over like that, and I think that will be a big talking point for us. But Reggie Lynch he's a force. I think he's just dominant on the defensive end, and obviously those perimeter guys make their defense go, their zone go, because they're so quick and they agitate you so much out there on the perimeter. But I think they're able to funnel everything into Reggie Lynch, and he's just a force in there defensively. He does a great job, and he continues to improve on the offensive end. But very good team. Dan's done a great job with all of those new faces. As quick and as mobile of a team as there is in our league.
I know in the two games, Lofton didn't really have real good games against you guys, and obviously in the last couple games of the season there, he's kind of picked up, especially offensively. What kind of problems maybe does he present that you guys were able to handle the first couple times?
Well, he's super talented, and when he gets going, I don't think there's any question about his ability. He can be a game changer on the offensive end. He's a 6'5" kid with skills. He can make pull-ups. He can drive it. He's explosive off the bounce. So, he hasn't, as of lately, obviously, he's been on a tear and playing very good basketball, so it's just another weapon for them.
Thanks, Paul.
You bet, Jim.
Coach, that was it for you today. Thank you for your time. Good luck in your first game against Illinois State.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Bye-bye. Joined now by Coach Greg Lansing of Indiana State. Indiana State opens as the number 2 seed. They'll play their first game on Friday at 6 o'clock. Morning, Greg.
How you doing, Mike?
Good. It's almost lunchtime in Terre Haute. Thanks for joining us.
You got
it. Let's get right to the questions for you. Questions from the media for Coach Greg Lansing.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Again, for questions, press star 1. Your first question comes from the line of Dave Reynolds with the Peoria Journal-Star.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Dave.
How would you evaluate how your team has finished the season here in the last couple of games?
Well, I'm not near as concerned as maybe our media or our fans. Them being disappointed. I'm just disappointed. I think what happened, and kids are guilty of this. We secured that second seed and second place finish, and we coasted a little bit, and that's not to take away from anybody that we played, but teams had much more desperation and determination than we did. We had to go to Missouri State and go to Illinois State and then come here and play UNI, and all 3 of those teams are really good, and they were fighting for the third seed, and we didn't play up to the level that they competed at, and it bothered us. I felt a little bit better at the effort we played with against Northern Iowa Saturday, and it was a good game, and it could have gone either way. But I think the guys will respond. We've continued to practice well, and now we have plenty of motivation.
And then just following up, you're either playing Bradley or Loyola. How do you go about preparing here before you get to St. Louis for either one of those teams? Do you just obviously you know a lot about both of them, but do you do anything particular when you're doing preparation?
No, and we'll probably do the same thing we have all year. It's usually more about us than anything else. We'll continue to work on what we do and play the way we play. Have a lot of respect, and both of those teams concern me a great deal, and I know that'll be a good game on Thursday night. They get that little bit of advantage of playing in the facility one time before we play, but we'll do our thing, and we'll sprinkle in. They do some similar things at different times, but they're both pretty. They do a lot of different things too. So we'll work in sprinkle some of both of them probably Wednesday and Thursday, but mostly it's about us playing well and us being ready when we get there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our next question is from the line of Todd Hefferman with the Southern Illinoisan.
Hey, Greg, do you think you match up well with Bradley or Loyola, one or the other?
Oh, man, that's a good question. When that stuff comes out, you think about it. As a coach, you worry about everybody. I know I do, and then you have an assistant that scouts each of them, and they're more concerned about their team than the others, so you have that going. But I think they're both tough matchups, and the fact that we beat them twice. We swept both of those teams, and I think it's really difficult when you have to beat a team 3 times. But that's a great thing about Arch Madness and March Madness is it's tournament time, and the best team, the teams that are playing the best continue to move forward. But really neat, I'm going to be very concerned about whichever one wins that game.
And with your experience, do you take a lot of stock at that? Well, you have 5 days to get ready. It's a totally different tournament, and you've got seniors that have played well in this tournament. Does that make you feel better that you'll be ready to play?
I've felt good. I'm telling you, I've felt good about every game going into it with these guys, and the reason that is because they're such a good group of guys. They represent this university in a first-class fashion. They've done a lot for our basketball program. 4 seniors that we got on this team, and like you said, they've helped us win some big games, and Jake and Lucas were on the team when we won the tournament. So I like my team going into every game, and I really look forward to St. Louis, and I just hope we make it a long weekend for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your next question is from Brian Bloodworth from WJVC Radio.
I was just wondering what you think your team's mindset is heading into St. Louis.
I think it's good. I think that it's funny around here. This is the 5th year in 38 years that we've had 20-plus wins. Our program has won 18 or more games and is going to play in a postseason again for the first time in program history for 4 straight years. People were a little disappointed with us losing 3 straight going into the tournament, but we play good teams in this league, and if you're not playing your best, you're going to get beat. But I think our mind frame's great. I think we were disappointed in not getting the win on Saturday and sending the seniors out in the right manner. Watched the tape with the guys and looked at the things that we could have done better and the things that we did do well, and then had a really good practice yesterday. So it's a big week for us, but we'll be ready on Friday night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And your next question is from Harry Schroeder with Valley Hoops Insider.
Hey, Greg, you're fourth time here at the tournament. Are there any Sycamore traditions? You guys do anything special when you come in? I'm trying to think of the other side, not just on the floor, but are there things you guys do that, or maybe kind of traditional things you do when you come to town?
I know we like to eat at Charlie Guido's. That's one of the things that we like to do. And it's a good thing. You bring in your families, come in, you get to see some of them that maybe you don't see as much throughout the year. I know my family's going to be there, and I'm different. Coach Waltman always used to get mad at us when he was the head coach here, how you talk and get along with the other assistants or head coaches before the game. But I have a great deal of respect for the quality of coaching, head coaches and assistant coaches in this league. So I actually like to, see those guys, and whether you're talking about your team or just life in general, have good friends on other staffs here. So it's a great time, and it's the best time of the year in my mind. And other than going over there and making sure we eat really good, we don't have anything specific that we do.
If I could just follow up too, you talked about you guys are going to go to most likely, you're going to play in postseason again, no matter what happens in this tournament. So you guys can come in pretty confident this weekend. Would that be a true statement?
I think we've been pretty confident all year, even when we haven't performed our best. I think we're a team that goes into each game believing that we're going to win. I know the coaching staff prepares that way, and that's the way we feel, even though you have a lot of anxiety knowing you're playing good teams. But we're going to go in there confident and give it everything we've got. I think it's wide open. Wichita has done so much for the league this year, and obviously they're the favorite. But I think you'd ask their staff; they know that they're going to win it. They're going to have to beat 3 good teams and play well, and we'll go over there confident, and hopefully we get to play more than one game, and the postseason will take care of itself.
Thanks a lot, Craig. Good luck.
Thank you.
Coach, that's it for you. Thanks for your time today. Good luck this weekend.
All right, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Okay, we'll see you. Marty Simmons of Evansville joins us. The Purple Aces opening up against Drake in the first round of the tournament at 6 o'clock in St. Louis. Morning, Marty.
Good morning.
How are you?
Hanging in there, Mike. You?
I'm doing okay. Let's get right to the questions for you. Questions for Coach Marty Simmons from the media.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. And again, that's star 1 for a question.
Coach, you split with Drake during the regular season, and including a game that was just played last week. Talk about your game against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, tough matchup, Mike. Got tons of respect for Ray and his staff and his team, and they put it on us pretty good up there at their place earlier in the year. We played better at our place. They missed shots that we know they're going to make. We're going to have to be a lot better. We're going to play a lot harder. I mean, they've got a great guard in Carter. Daniels comes in there, and they really have 2 guys that can really push in transition, can shoot the 3, that can create a lot of opportunities for everybody else. Holly's lights out. He's had a terrific year. He makes three-pointers at close to a 50% clip. They've got good size. Got guys that can really shoot it. The big guys inside can score. They can get fouled, and they're great passers. So, very versatile team. One that we certainly have a lot of respect for.
Thank you, Marty. We do have a question in the queue for you.
And your question is from Jim Benson with the Bloomington Pantagraph.
Morning, Marty.
Morning, Jim.
Either you or Ray, whoever gets to play Wichita Friday afternoon, can you guys use the fact that St. Joseph 10 years ago ran the table in the regular season and they went to their conference tournament and promptly lost their first game? Is that something you would mention if that develops on Friday morning?
I guess I'm old school, Jim. I'm just worried about Drake. They're plenty tough for us, and at this time of the year, really one possession at a time, 1 4-minute segment. I mean, just trying to keep it short term and trying to stay focused, in the moment as much as anything. And I guess I just have never been big on that. I just taking care of, our business and being focused on the game at hand.
Thanks, Marty.
Yep.
And your next question is from Harry Schroeder with Valley Hoops Insider.
Hey, Marty, I knew you knew that your son could play, but you got to be excited about him making the all-freshman team. If you could comment on that, and then just how has DJ been able to just continue to score at such a great rate when every team knows that he's the guy that they have to stop?
Well, DJ, he's a very confident player. And he's very versatile. I think that's been a huge key for him is his ability to score in a lot of different ways. And his teammates have done a great job of setting screens and delivering the ball to him. But he just has a knack. He makes threes. He's got a good mid-range game. He's got a floater. He's really added getting to the free throw line, scoring in the post. But, he just... he's driven and he's been relentless at it. But I think the ability to do it in different ways has really helped him. As far as my son, I am proud. He'd be the first to tell you it's been quite a learning experience, going from high school basketball to college. But he's a hard worker. He works hard every day, and he's had some really good moments, and he's had some moments where it wasn't so good, and I think he's really, tried to learn from that. And I think the thing I'm most proud is I think he's a really good teammate. I think he likes being on the team and does a great job of encouraging his teammates and fits in well.
Thanks, Marty. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Marty, that was your final question. Thank you for your time this morning. Good luck in the tournament this weekend.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, we'll see you. We do have Coach Barry Hinson of Southern Illinois on the line with us. Salukis opening up their tournament with a Friday night game against Northern Iowa in the quarterfinals. Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Michael.
How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good. Let's get right to the questions for you. Questions for Coach Barry Hinson.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. And your first question comes from the line of Paul Selentrop with the Wichita Eagle.
You've professed a lot of admiration for Fred VanVleet, so I was wondering when you were preparing to face him, what kind of problems does he present? What do you tell your guards about playing against Fred?
I think, Paul, the first thing is you can't lose focus. He's got to be a focal point, not only when the ball's in his hands, but when it's out of his hands, because he does such a good job. But you just can't. It's kind of like, Martin Luther King said, keep your eye on the prize. It's the same thing. Keep your eye on the ball when they teach you to play golf or playing baseball. You got to keep your eye on VanVleet. I think that's huge.
The game always seems to be played at the speed and the pace that he wants it to. He doesn't get rushed or sped up very often. How does he do that? How does he pull that off?
I think that's a sign of a good player. I think if you look at any good player, his pace is never determined by what somebody else is doing. It's about him. And, I had a guy tell me one time, he says, it's funny when we talk about interviewing, he says, I'm not going to let the guy asking me questions determine where this interview's going. I control the interview. And I think he's a lot like that. He says, to me, he's the type of point guard that I'm not going to let a zone, a press, a man-to-man, a run and jump, a trap, or the game or the pace of the game dictate what I'm going to do. I'm going to dictate what happens in the game. And I think that's what makes him so special.
Thank you.
Your next question is from Carson Tiggs with the Waterloo Courier.
Hey, Barry, just as you prepare for this weekend, this tournament, what's the biggest thing that you look for from your team to not only get a win on Friday, but potentially win 3 of them?
We don't, Carson, we don't talk about anything other than Northern Iowa. I think that's, I've learned a long time ago, you win one game. I mean, we don't talk about anything other than just Northern Iowa. And you're looking at a team that has led us literally for 79 minutes and 54 seconds in 80 minutes of play. I mean, we've beat Northern Iowa 6 seconds. That's it. And they have completely dominated us in every aspect. And, this is it's a huge task for us. We're going to have to play extremely well. But the thing that we just ask our guys to do in any time, whether it's Valley play or a game, is just play your tail off. And we certainly didn't do that at Northern Iowa. They had a lot to do with that. But I just hope our guys play with great effort.
All right, thanks.
And your next question is from Harry Schroeder with Valley Hoops Insider.
Good morning, Barry. You guys have played really well here down the stretch, and obviously Anthony has taken his game to a new level. Is it just that simple that his game is elevated so your team's play has, or there have been other factors?
I think that's certainly a huge variable to why we've had success, but I think that now because Tyler is our best percentage three-point field goal percentage shooter, you have to guard Tyler out on the perimeter. And when Bowler decides he wants to play, he's pretty good on the boards. He got 0 points and 0 rebounds at Northern Iowa, but he's been close to, double-doubles, and he's also been close to double figures in all of his rebounds in all the games we've been very successful. So, I think those variables right there, those 2 specific variables, have helped us a lot.
Thanks, Barry. Good luck.
Thanks, Harry.
Barry, that's it for you today. Thank you for your time. Good luck against Northern Iowa.
Michael, we'll see you Thursday, buddy.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Travel safe. We'll see you. We're joined now by Coach Porter Moser of Loyola. Loyola opening up its tournament against Bradley in the 7 versus 10 seeded game at 8:30 on Thursday. Hey, Porter.
Coach will be on here in 1 second. Here it comes.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, Porter. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Let's get right to the questions for you. Questions for Coach Porter Moser.
To ask Coach a question, press *1. Your first question comes from the line of Dave Reynolds with the Peoria Journal-Star.
Or could you review the 2 games against Bradley this season?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. They, the storyline is they did a great job of pressuring us, and we had 18 turnovers and 23 turnovers, and you just can't compete when you have that kind. I think their physicality of Lemon, Pickett, those 2 older guys on ball screens and on different things against our young guys. Just physically, we didn't do a good job answering the bell, and that was why I thought in the first half there, it's like their turnovers, and then they capitalized on their turnovers was our biggest Achilles heel.
And obviously you want to clean up that part of the game. Anything else you want to focus on this time around with them?
Well, I think that's I think Barnes is a mismatch guy. I mean, he's tough. He can post you up and he can shoot the 3. And I think they do a good job of putting him in mismatch positions. And I think that, and obviously Lemon. Anytime Lemon can get free, I think we had him pretty good in the first half, and then he got going in the second half. And I just think he's such a prolific scorer. You got to play 40 minutes on Lemon because he can throw 10 on you in a 3-minute span if you start to let up on him. So it's got to be a 40-minute effort on Lemon.
And finally, this will be a new experience for all your kids. You've obviously been an old hand at this tournament. What sorts of things do you tell them about playing in St. Louis?
Well, there's got to be a focus part to it. I mean, there's a lot of, different tournaments. Even when we've been in the Horizon didn't have a tournament like this. It was, you played on neutral, you played on the home court sites, and just to have this kind of a focus and an atmosphere, you gotta stay focused on your task at hand. And the other thing is you gotta believe. I mean, you gotta go in here and believe. I mean, I know it's a large task to win 4 in a row, but you gotta try to take one game at a time. But I think for us, the focus of doing your job and staying, because there's it's a big time tournament. The crowds, just how it's run, St. Louis, everything. And it's easy for young guys who've never been a part of a tournament setting to lose focus.
Thank you.
Coach, that was it for you. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Good luck in St. Louis. Let's get to Coach Dan Muller of Illinois State. Illinois State plays its first game on Friday at 2:30 against Missouri State in the quarterfinals. Morning, Dan.
Morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good. Let's get right to the questions for Coach Dan Muller. Questions from the media.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. And again, for questions, that's star 1.
Coach, both games with Missouri State this year, close ball games, and kind of recap looking at both of those two and your prep for this weekend.
Yeah, 2 very close games. We're somewhat similar with our personnel as far as size, and they're zoning a lot now. We, of course, zone a lot. So I anticipate a very close competitive game, and whoever makes a bunch of plays at the end will probably win it.
And we do have a question in the queue for you, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
And your question is from the line of Jim Benson with the Bloomington Pantograph.
A comment on Reggie and Deshaun being honored by the league this morning on the all-newcomer and all-freshman teams.
Yeah, well-deserved, I think, honored. Very happy for those 2 guys. Deshaun's been our most dynamic scorer and one of our better rebounders all year. Reggie has been a dominant player on both ends of the court at times and has played his best basketball lately. So really happy for those 2, and of course it's a credit to their teammates also for the success that we've had as a team.
And could you give us an update on John Jones? Is it possible he could play some minutes this week, or where's he at?
Yeah, no, John won't be ready. We of course want to be very careful with him, and he's doing a little bit of stuff, but not enough to get on the court unless something miraculous happens.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
And your next question is from Harry Schroeder with Valley Hoops Insider.
Dan, you guys finished pretty well. I mean, 3 wins, an overtime loss, a 1-point loss, only one kind of lopsided loss of those last 6 or 7. Just talk about what's been going right these last several weeks.
Yeah, hey, Harry, thanks. We've been really good at home, number 1, and so that's been consistent all year. We finally had a terrific road performance at Southern Illinois, who's playing as well as anyone, and took a big shot to beat us. And then at Evansville, we had a terrific second half. But we've made more shots on the road recently, and of course our defense has been much better. Rebounding has hurt us in the games that we've performed poorly. But I think just as a team in general, our team has gotten better over the course of the last 2 months, understanding what it takes, being able to make shots, being able to play extremely hard and guard.
And is that a lot to do with your team was so not only young but new together at the beginning of the year? And it's just that, cliche-driven, you finally have gotten to know each other?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And understanding the intensity you have to play with on the road and also in every game in conference. I think that continues. You get that experience. And we've had a really good leadership. And also I think individuals have improved their game. I mean, we've gotten better at certain things also with penetration and taking care of the ball and making free throws. So I think it's individual and collectively we've improved.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Good luck.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you.
Coach, that was your final question. Thank you for your time and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, we'll see you. Geno Florida of Bradley is opening up its tournament on Thursday against Loyola at 8:30. Morning, Geno. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, I got you now. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Let's go ahead and open it up for the questions for Coach Geno Ford. Get right to it. Questions for Coach Geno Ford.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. And again, for questions, that's star 1. Your first question comes from the line of Paul Solentrop with the Wichita Eagles.
Geno, I wanted to ask you about Fred Van Fleet and kind of how you prepare your teams for him. What's the, scouting report, and what do you tell your guards when they're getting ready to match up against Fred?
Well, as you know, he's a tough matchup. I don't know that we're supposed to reveal this, but I actually voted him Player of the Year. I think he's just phenomenal. I think he's the straw that stirs the drink, and you can't go to sleep on him because he makes clutch three-point shots late in the shot clock. He has an uncanny knack on ball screens for kind of slithering his way to the rim, and he finishes left-handed at a really high rate around the basket. So he doesn't wow you with a super explosive jump and above the rim, but he jumps lateral and he gets his shoulder on you. And I think a real underrated part of his game is on the defensive end. When you drive the ball and he's in help, he has incredibly accurate hands at raking the ball out from you. I think he's a guy that you can talk about all those things, but then you get in the game and he's just got a lot of courage and a lot of confidence, and he makes big plays. So, you can talk to your guys about what you need to do and how you got to be alert. But when your game plan is to be alert against the guy for 40 minutes, inevitably that means he's awfully good, and he's going to find a way to kind of get you a little bit. And he seems to do that in every big situation.
So when you say don't go to sleep on him, I guess, is it easy to kind of forget about him a little bit because of Early and Baker, and then when you
I think so. I think what happens is you get so consumed with trying to guard Clee Anthony Early, and then Baker and Cotton's had a great year. And I think one of the real underrated parts of their team has been, if you look at their 5 men and combine their stats, I mean, it's like 16 points, 11 rebounds, or something like that. It's incredible, the production they get from those 5s. So I just think that with all the weapons they have, he ends up being the guy that, gets you in the end when you have the big possession, because you're so consumed with everybody. And I think he's done an incredible job of keeping them balanced. Certainly Coach Marshall is, what he's done, it's unbelievable. But, you got to give the point guard some credit, because obviously Coach can say what he wants in the locker room, but in the end, Fred's the one on the floor who has to carry that stuff out and has to get guys in the right spots and make sure that they're staying humble, which has been the most impressive part to me, because I think everybody that's in this league has been a part of some special seasons. But usually when you're having a good season, you have little jealousies and little ego moments. And, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but he sure seems to keep everybody on an even keel, because he's just always got that stone face and very engrossed in the competing and very into what his teammates are doing when he's on the floor.
Thank you.
Yep.
Your next question is from Dave Reynolds with the Peoria Journal-Star.
Hey, Geno.
Hey, Dave.
Your thoughts on Walt getting second-team recognition and also named to the all-defensive team?
Well, I think, that both were about, where I thought he would be, and very well deserved. He's been a steals guy for us for 2 years. I give him a lot of credit defensively. He's really improved this year and become a better position defender. A year ago, he really gambled, and gambled a lot. And this year, I think he's really toned down the amount of gambling, and his steals have stayed up at the top of the league. But he's been able to be a help defender for us, which is something he was not at all a year ago. And I think in a normal year, I think individual talent, Walt's one of the 5 most talented guys. But when you factor in the season that Wichita had, it's hard to be shocked that he was put on the second team, because they deserve to have so many guys on there. And when you go undefeated like that, how do you not get that many guys? So I think that he was probably one of the top guys on the second team, and he certainly had a great career for us, and he's had a really good season in the conference. Yep, no problem.
And your next question is from Harry Schroeder with Valley Hoops Insider.
You guys play Loyola, and so it's your third time with them, and a whole bunch of schools now from Illinois. Are you enjoying, more teams from right there in the state? And have you enjoyed the Loyola addition to the conference?
Well, I have, because I think that they're a really similar institution to Bradley. I mean, it's a private school. It's a good academic school. They've got really high-end, high-character kids that get it done in the classroom. It's not easy to get admitted there. So I do like them in the league, and I think that Porter's done a really good job in a transition year of getting guys acclimated to our conference. And the venues are so much harder to play on the road in the Valley. I came from the MAC. He was in the Horizon, two pretty similar conferences, and just sheer attendance figures alone, it makes road games that much more difficult because there's such a better game atmosphere than there are in those other two conferences on game night. And then, they've got a local Peoria player, Jeff White, who was just a high school star here, in Peoria. So it's good to have him in the league. And, I think it's been very positive, especially, and it gives us a rivalry game. Illinois State's a great rivalry for us because it's, right down the street. But it gives us a rivalry game against a like institution academically, which I think that our alums, are excited about.
Thanks, Geno. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Geno, that was your last question. Thank you for your time. Good luck in the tournament this weekend.
Thanks.
All right, we'll see you. We do have Coach Greg Marshall of Wichita State with us. Wichita State, the top seed, and will play the winner of the Drake-Evansville game, Wichita State's first game on Friday at noon. Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Good. Okay, well, let's open it up for the questions for you. Questions from the media for Coach Greg Marshall.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Your first question comes from the line of Rodney McKissick with the Buffalo News.
Hello, Coach. How are you?
Fine, Rodney. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Coach, in your mind, have you done enough, regardless of what happens this week? Have you done enough to earn the number 1 seed in the tournament?
Well, I think we have, but my opinion doesn't count for much. I won't be in that room, and they're not going to call me and ask me for my opinion. But for your purposes, I think we have. When you've gone 31 up and 31 down against some really good teams, really good players, really good coaches, I think it deserves that. But again, I don't have to worry about that. I just have to worry about playing the games, and hopefully we can win and advance. And if we don't, then we'll be in the NCAA tournament regardless. And last year we went to the Final Four as a 9 seed, so I really don't think it matters just who's playing the best during those pivotal games in late March and April.
Hey, could you just kind of talk about the last 2 years of the program? I mean, like you said, you've been to the Final Four, and now you've accomplished an undefeated regular season, which has only been done a handful of times. Just kind of reflecting on what you've done over the last 2 seasons.
Well, we started out by recruiting some really good players, and my staff has done a nice job of identifying guys that would come to Wichita State and help us make history. And we had the NIT championship in 11 and a 5 seed in 12, which we played a really hot team, VCU, with Final Four experience. So that didn't turn out so well. And then last year as a 9 seed, we make the Final Four run, but you better have some really good players. And that's what we've got. And I just credit my staff and our players for being willing to play as a team, accept their role on the team, for the betterment of the team. And that's what we've got. Some really talented guys that are team first. They allow us to coach them, and they work extremely hard on both ends.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
You're welcome.
Your next question is from Paul Solentrop with the Wichita Eagle.
Hey, Greg, I think you knew Fred was going to be a really good point guard for you. Has he surprised you in any way? Made any more progress than maybe even you expected as a sophomore?
Has he surprised me? I'm not sure I would say surprised. I mean, we knew he was good, and we were excited for him to make the decision to join our program. But he just puts you at ease as a coach, knowing that you've got him running your program, you've got him handling the basketball and making the decisions and being a leader out there on the floor. It just makes you really at ease and enables you to sleep well at night.
And you said you've got him running your program. Does that mean more than just what goes on in the court? It seems like, locker room, all those kind of influences he has on this team.
Well, I just think he's very mature, and he knows. For senior day, he took one shot. All right, that to me was the biggest crowd, the best crowd of our season, and it's been a season of great crowds. He goes out there and takes one shot. I think he goes 1 for 1. It's all about winning for him, and he's an extension of the coaching staff on the floor, and it's just comforting, and to know that he's not even done with his sophomore season.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Your next question is from Jim Benson with the Bloomington Pantograph.
Greg, you're a guy who knows about the history of college basketball, and St. Joseph kind of ran the table in 2004, then they came into the conference tournament and lost their first game. Do you mention that at all to your team, or are you guys smart enough to know that they have to play well in St. Louis?
Well, they know they have to play well, Jim, and I probably will mention it. I don't hide anything from them. I'm very upfront, open, and honest with them. So yeah, I'll let them know that. I appreciate you reminding me. I knew that St. Joe's was good and had a great run, and I didn't know they lost in the first round. I knew they lost, but I didn't know it was in the first round. So yeah, but they know it's possible to lose to these teams. We've played these teams twice, and the way you go 31-0 is you have a healthy respect for your opponent, and you know that if you don't play well against them, you can lose, because every team you play has a coach who's paid to win, and players, hopefully 13 full scholarship guys, that want to win when that ball's tossed. So you understand that, and this team has done a great job of understanding that.
Do you have a theme for Friday's game yet?
32. No, I don't. I'm actually shopping with my wife right now and just admiring this beautiful high-level grocery store. I've never been in places like this, but I'll think about that as the days go on. And let's see, 32.
Bill Walton.
A lot of good 32s out there.
Bill Walton.
Jim Brown. Wasn't he 32? So we'll figure it out. But the biggest thing is we need to play well.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Your next question is from Harry Schroeder with Valley Hoops Insider.
Greg, first of all, congratulations. What a great season. It's fun to watch you guys. But beyond that, in a perfect world, Greg, with this Player of the Year thing, in a perfect world, wouldn't it be good for your senior to win that award and let the other guys get it later on?
In a perfect world? Yeah, I guess that would be good in a perfect world, but we don't live in a perfect world. Even though we've got a perfect record, we're far from perfect as a basketball team, and that's why, I'm excited about going to work each day, and that's why I'm gainfully employed, because our administration sees that there's things that we need to do to get better, and we can continue to do that. So the record is perfect, but the basketball has not been, and we'll continue to strive to get better. We'll work hard at, like we did yesterday when we were get back together tomorrow, and so I don't. Our guys are unbelievable. We had a group deal yesterday. I was asked to pick one player for another Sports Illustrated cover, potentially, and this is not guaranteed, but they did the photo shoot this morning. So yesterday I was asked to deliver one player. Now, what kind of situation is that for if you've seen our team? That's a tough situation. So what I did was I just drew straws. I had 3 big straws and 1 small straw, and I brought the 4 guys, Jacale, Ron, Fred, and Clee Anthony together and said, I'd like for you guys to pick these strings that I've cut, and whoever gets the smallest piece will be the one that gets the photo shoot with some students, fans, for another SI cover. And as we were beginning to do that, the guys chuckled again, and, we kind of had a hard time believing that they wanted to do another cover shot. But Clee Anthony says, I think it should be Jacale. And I just looked, and everybody looked at him. He goes, the rest of us get more hype, and I think it should be Jacale. I don't want to pick. So that's the kind of guys we've got. I thought that was a really, really mature and team-first statement for Clee Anthony. So to answer a long answer to a very simple, short question that you presented, I don't think that I have to worry about it.
I appreciate it, Greg. Best of luck.
And your next question is from Nolan Epstein with N&N Media.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about your overall fan support you received throughout the season? Well, really several years now, and obviously you'll be well represented again in St. Louis over the weekend. Just talk about how much that's meant to you and your team.
It means a tremendous amount. Since I've been the coach, and even before I got there, when Mark Turgeon, at some point during his tenure, we started a streak of 10,000 plus in Coke Arena. It holds 10,506, I think. And I think that streak is around 150 now. So it's been about 10 years that we've had 10,000 or more every time we've tossed the ball up in Coke Arena. And we've had some foul weather now. We've had some snowstorms, and it seems like every time we play, there's some type of precipitation, sleet, rain, cold. It doesn't matter. People come and support it. It's important to them. They love it. I understand that we sold all of our allotment of tickets, which is somewhere around 2,400 to 2,600, and we've also helped several, and that at least 3 schools sell their minimum allotment by buying theirs. So the number, I think, is up to around 4,000 the last I heard that will be traveling to St. Louis, and that's a pretty strong statement as to the strength, vitality, and passion of Shocker Nation.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
And your next question is from David Fox with Athlon Sports.
Greg, you kind of addressed this when you talked about another SI cover, as you put it, but how have your guys handled all this attention? You've had a lot of visiting media and people talking about your team. Many programs in your spot have had kids that have dealt with this to a greater degree. How have your guys responded to kind of being one of the big storylines?
I don't think they could have responded any better. I see that comment by Clee Anthony as a testament to why I say that, because here's a kid that is being asked to be 1 in 4, have a 25% chance of being on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and he says, "No, I really don't want it. It doesn't matter to me. I've already been on Sports Illustrated once last year and once this year, and my buddy, my teammate, my friend, my brother, who deserves it just as much as I do and gets less attention or hype than I do, deserves to take my spot if I win. So I think he should do it." I think that's pretty cool, and says a lot about the type of kids that we've got, and just Clee Anthony as an individual.
When did you guys start to realize that you were, one of the major stories of the season? I mean, did this go back to the Final Four, or was there a certain time when, when more people started, asking for covers and interviews and all that sort of thing?
Well, I think when Sports Illustrated comes and they want a cover shot, and then when we won our 30th game in a row at Bradley, and people made such a big deal of it because it had never been done. I think that's when I realized, and I said, "Ooh, okay, this is getting pretty big and pretty important and exciting." And but it was at that point for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Greg, that was the last question. Thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
All right, thanks. This does wrap up our coaches' teleconference to preview the tournament. We'll ask beat writers to stay on the line with us. Everyone else, please disconnect at this time. Beat writers will be around for a roundtable momentarily.
NCAA March Madness is coming to St. Louis. When the final buzzer sounds, only the best will advance to the NCAA Sweet 16. Experience it live. Catch second and third round action of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship March 21st and 23rd at Scott Trade Center, hosted by the Missouri Valley Conference. Single session tickets start at $66 and are available for a limited time. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets and make a date with champions. Show your school spirit and make all the difference. Sport your team's colors at the MVC tournament and get great seats for as little as $12 a session. Just $12. Don't miss the 2014 Missouri Valley Conference Women's Basketball Tournament at the Family Arena in St. Charles, Missouri. School spirit and get your tickets now. It begins here. It begins here.
Say it slowly. Wichita State is going to the Final Four.
The madness starts at the Arch. Don't miss the 2014 Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Tournament, March 6th through 9th at Scott Trade Center. Get your tickets and get to St. Louis for Arch Madness. It begins here.